it is now being announced that Stefon Diggs not only lost the Super Bowl, he also lost his girl in the same night.
Cardi B gave her attention, her public support, and her spotlight to Stefon Diggs, and for a while it looked like a headline romance built for the cameras. Then Super Bowl weekend arrived, and suddenly everything people thought they understood about their relationship started to shift. Rumors exploded online, timelines lit up, and fans began asking the same question at the same time. What really happened behind the scenes that night? And why did the internet start saying Offset somehow won, without playing a single snap? Let's rewind to February 8, 2026, a date that was supposed to be a celebration, not a controversy. The expectation was simple: a superstar rapper cheering for her partner on football's biggest stage. Diggs was preparing to compete in the championship game, and Cardi had spent months publicly supporting him, posting, celebrating, and showing up. Their relationship had become one of those pop culture storylines people followed like a weekly series. Cameras looked for her in the crowd, blogs tracked every reaction, and fans watched closely, convinced they were witnessing a power couple era in real time. But by the end of that night, the narrative had changed, and the internet was already trying to figure out why.
Everybody wanted to see her at the games. They wanted to know her opinions, They wanted to see her support.
Let's rewind a little and look at how Stefon Diggs entered Cardi B's life in the first place. After years of surviving one of the most publicly toxic marriages in hip-hop history with Offset, Cardi had spent months, actually 6 full months, focusing on herself. She was healing, reclaiming her independence, and learning what it meant to trust herself again without the constant threat of emotional manipulation. That's when Stefon appeared, offering words that, on the surface, seemed like a promise of safety, respect, and care. "Let me heal you," he said. Those 3 simple words were powerful enough to pierce the walls Cardi had built around herself, walls that had been fortified over years of heartbreak, betrayal, and public scrutiny. For Cardi, this wasn't just another relationship. She genuinely believed in the possibility of a new beginning, thinking that this time, she could invest in love without repeating past mistakes. Diggs positioned himself as the antidote to her trauma, offering attention, reassurance, and a sense of emotional security that she hadn't felt in years. By June 2025, they were publicly showing off their connection, yacht photos, social media captions, and glimpses into a new chapter. By September, she announced her pregnancy with him to the world, glowing and optimistic, convinced she had found peace. But as the red flags started stacking, it became clear that the same destructive patterns were emerging, just faster and with higher stakes. Diggs, like Offset before him, carried a history of overlapping relationships, multiple children with different women, and legal controversies. Cardi's hard-earned lessons from her past were suddenly being tested in real time. The difference this time? The collapse happened on the biggest possible stage, the Super Bowl, and in front of millions of witnesses, magnifying every misstep, every rumor, and every betrayal.
It was not only the good luck, it was her facial expressions, it was her body language.
The culmination of all the chaos surrounding Cardi B and Stefon Diggs, combined with Offset's subtle yet powerful commentary, found a single perfect punchline on social media: Offset won the Super Bowl without even putting on a jersey. That statement, simple yet loaded with irony, captured the imagination of the public in ways that no single tweet or meme could replicate. It wasn't just clever wording, it perfectly summarized the absurdity of the situation. While Diggs was fumbling both professionally and personally on the biggest stage imaginable, Offset, who had a history of relationship missteps with Cardi, managed to achieve a symbolic victory by sitting back, observing, and letting the drama unfold without lifting a finger. Fans and content creators were quick to amplify this narrative. TikTok videos, reaction posts, and viral edits showed side-by-side comparisons of the two men, Diggs under pressure on the field and Offset casually co-parenting while watching the spectacle play out online. Deepfake edits, memes, and parody accounts had a field day, and the internet collectively agreed the metaphorical win for Offset was both petty and hilarious. But beyond the comedy, the statement carried a deeper resonance. Cardi B had invested deeply in every relationship she had, emotionally, publicly, and physically, and yet, the man she had trusted this time again faltered. The contrast between effort and outcome became the focus of public discussion, one man failing spectacularly despite all the opportunities, the other winning, without effort because circumstances and his predecessor's missteps aligned perfectly. The comparison between Diggs and Offset also sparked conversations about accountability, timing, and the emotional stakes in high-profile relationships. It wasn't just entertainment, it became a lens through which fans could analyze patterns of loyalty, public behavior, and emotional intelligence. Social media had distilled the chaos into a single, unforgettable line: Offset won without even putting on a jersey. And in that punchline, the world understood exactly what it meant to watch someone reap the benefits of someone else's mistakes while doing absolutely nothing themselves.
Would be there, front row and center, to hold him and console him whether he lost or he won. The fact that she left speaks volumes.
The loudest takeaway from this entire saga wasn't the heartbreak, the cheating rumors, or even the Super Bowl loss. It was the lesson in empowerment and self-preservation. Cardi B's response to the chaos became the defining narrative, louder than any viral post, meme, or tabloid headline. She demonstrated, in real time, that loyalty, love, and effort should never come at the expense of one's own well-being. Choosing herself, prioritizing her child, and refusing to be manipulated by men who repeatedly failed to honor trust became a blueprint for millions watching. Despite the drama unfolding across timelines, news feeds, and group chats, Cardi continued to operate from her lane. She remained focused on her music, her family, and her career. Just 2 days after the breakup made headlines, Cardi B was set to kick off her highly anticipated Little Miss Drama tour on February 11, 2026. Thousands of fans showed up not because of gossip or scandal, but because they believed in her talent, her authenticity, and her resilience. The stage became her fortress, her arena where she controlled the narrative, and where every lyric, every performance, every interaction reaffirmed her power and independence. Meanwhile, Stefon Diggs faced legal scrutiny, public ridicule, and mounting questions about his future both on and off the field. His NFL career, already under the microscope, now came with the added burden of public judgment. Fans and commentators were quick to highlight the contrast: Cardi, rebuilding and thriving after heartbreak, and Diggs, struggling to maintain credibility in the public eye. Offset, co-parenting quietly and observing the spectacle, achieved a symbolic victory without lifting a finger, a reminder that sometimes in life, patience, timing, and observation can be as effective as action. Ultimately, the story emphasized a universal truth: the only ring that truly matters is the one you earn for yourself. Cardi's stage, her music, and her independence became the victory that no loss, scandal, or betrayal could ever take away. Her journey served as a powerful reminder to audiences worldwide that self-respect, resilience, and personal achievement are the ultimate forms of triumph.
And it is now being announced that Stefon Diggs not only lost the Super Bowl, he also lost his girl in the same night.
The final chapter of this saga brings us to a lesson in resilience, personal triumph, and reclaiming control. Despite the public heartbreak, rumors, and betrayal, Cardi B once again showed why she is one of the most formidable forces in music and culture. While Stefon Diggs faced legal battles, scandal, and the fallout from a Super Bowl defeat, Cardi was focused on what truly mattered: her art, her child, and her own well-being. She did not let the chaos define her or dictate her next move. Instead, she turned it into fuel for her comeback, reminding everyone watching why her influence and talent are unmatched. On February 11, 2026, just 48 hours after the breakup dominated headlines, Cardi stepped onto the stage in Palm Springs for the opening night of her Little Miss Drama tour. Thousands of fans showed up, not for gossip or scandal, but because they believed in her music, her persona, and her ability to rise above any obstacle. The lights, the energy, and the applause created a space where Cardi was in complete control. The only ring that truly mattered was her own, earned through talent, perseverance, and self-respect. Every lyric, every performance, and every interaction on that stage symbolized her victory over betrayal, over public scrutiny, and over anyone who doubted her resilience. Meanwhile, Diggs was left to face a combination of legal issues, public criticism, and the collapse of a relationship that never should have carried the weight of unrealistic expectations. Offset, watching from the sidelines, had already symbolically won in the court of public opinion without lifting a finger. But Cardi's story redefined victory, proof that success, autonomy, and self-love are far more enduring than any temporary, performative win.
And he just makes me feel safe and very confident and very strong. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I was literally having a panic.
Part 14, expanded, 300 words, criticism, societal perspective, and deeper message. As the dust settled and the viral moments circulated across every platform, some viewers tried to place the blame squarely on Cardi B, suggesting that she had fumbled her own situation. Critics argued that she rushed into the relationship with Stefon Diggs, that she should have anticipated the drama, or that she could have handled things differently. But anyone paying close attention knew this perspective was missing the bigger picture entirely. This story was never just about one wrong move or one misstep on Cardi's part. It was about the pattern, the system, and the emotional toll placed on women in high-profile relationships. Commentators and analysts pointed out that Cardi B had consistently carried the weight of the relationship from day one. She had been the public face of their love story, the cheerleader, the hype machine, and the protector of both her reputation and the well-being of her child. Meanwhile, Diggs' failures, legal issues, on-field disappointments, and rumored indiscretions highlighted the stark imbalance in accountability and responsibility. The system, amplified by public attention, social media, and celebrity culture, consistently rewarded performative male actions while women like Cardi did the heavy lifting without recognition or reciprocity. In the broader cultural discussion, Cardi's situation became symbolic. It sparked debates about emotional labor, gender dynamics, and how society often undervalues women who maintain relationships in the public eye while men evade responsibility. Fans, social media commentators, and even casual viewers began to discuss patterns of loyalty, trust, and respect, analyzing how power imbalances manifest in personal and professional life alike. Cardi's experience served as a real-time case study of these dynamics.
Like one time he just told me, like, it's like, let me heal you. Give me a chance for me to heal you. And it's like, okay.
One of the moments that really ignited discussion across social media was the exchange between Stefon Diggs and Funny Marco, a celebrity host known for asking provocative questions. During an interview, Marco asked Diggs about the possibility of putting a ring on Cardi B's finger. The question wasn't just casual, it cut straight to the heart of the public's curiosity. Millions of fans had been watching Cardi's support, her dedication, and her investment in the relationship, so the question carried real weight. Would Diggs acknowledge that commitment? Would he express genuine emotion? Would he give a concrete answer? Instead of offering a heartfelt response, Diggs sidestepped. He joked that first he had to secure a Super Bowl ring before any conversation about a personal commitment could happen. While it might have been intended as playful banter, the public instantly recognized it as tone-deaf. The answer revealed a deeper truth. Diggs wasn't fully present in the emotional reality of the relationship. His priorities, focused on career validation and superficial accolades, highlighted a disconnect that fans had already started to notice. The remark didn't just miss the mark, it underscored a larger pattern of emotional avoidance and immaturity that had been developing since the start of the romance. Social media exploded in response. Memes, GIFs, and reaction videos circulated, framing the moment as emblematic of Diggs' inability to grasp the gravity of what Cardi had invested in the relationship. Fans argued that even a simple acknowledgement would have gone a long way in demonstrating respect for Cardi, but instead, he had reduced their bond to a punchline. For the public, this wasn't just commentary, it was validation of all the warning signs they had been picking up on. That moment crystallized the broader narrative. Cardi had carried the emotional weight, invested time and energy, and yet received performative responses in return. The ring conversation became symbolic, a reflection of the imbalance in effort, accountability, and emotional commitment between the two, further intensifying public scrutiny and empathy for Cardi's position in the relationship.
That's absolutely absurd. That's first of all. But second of all, if you believe that just because of her name or her brand, that is going to make a tiger change his strategy.
The fallout from Super Bowl Sunday didn't stop at memes and social media chaos. It spilled into the legal and professional arenas as well. Stefon Diggs' February 13th court date for the strangulation charge had already been pushed back, specifically so he could play in the Super Bowl. The system had bent over backward to give him that opportunity, essentially prioritizing a major sports event over the judicial process. And even with that extraordinary accommodation, the result was catastrophic. No Super Bowl ring, no career-defining performance, and now potentially no Cardi B. L after L after L, all unfolding in real time for millions to witness. The public reaction was immediate and relentless. Fans dissected every move on the field, every Instagram story, every cryptic post. Analysts noted that while the league and the legal system had seemingly aligned to give Diggs his moment, he had squandered it spectacularly. Losing the game, losing Cardi, and being tied to unresolved legal issues created a trifecta of public humiliation. It wasn't just a personal failure, it was a cautionary tale about the pressures of high-profile relationships and the scrutiny of celebrity culture. Meanwhile, Cardi B's role in the narrative couldn't be ignored. She had carried the emotional labor of the relationship almost entirely on her own, from her support at games to managing public perception, while Diggs' actions off the field added fuel to the fire. Her decision to step away after the Super Bowl wasn't just personal, it was a public statement, amplified by the media and social platforms. Cardi's exit underscored a larger cultural conversation about accountability, respect, and the emotional costs women often bear when partners fail to uphold their commitments. The timing of these events was devastating, magnifying the stakes for everyone involved. While Diggs faced both legal and reputational consequences, Cardi B demonstrated a calculated response, walking away from a situation that had clearly violated the boundaries she had painstakingly set. The public watched, discussed, and debated, but the reality was clear. This wasn't just heartbreak, it was a high-stakes drama that intertwined celebrity, legal complications, and cultural scrutiny into a spectacle that nobody could ignore.
It's funny to be like, Offset won the Super Bowl, but I truly
That's hilarious.
I truly do believe.
That's hilarious.
By the time Cardi B decided to fully open her heart to Stefon Diggs, she had been through a lengthy period of self-reflection and healing. After her turbulent marriage to Offset, she had taken 6 whole months to step back, focus on herself, and rebuild her life without the constant emotional warfare that had defined her previous relationship. That period of solitude wasn't easy. It required confronting old scars, learning to trust herself again, and rediscovering what it meant to be happy independent of someone else. Cardi used that time to ground herself, reconnect with her creativity, and prepare to enter a new relationship with clarity and boundaries she hadn't had the first time around. By June 2025, after months of reflection and careful observation, she allowed Diggs into her life. Public appearances, yacht photos, social media posts, and personal captions reflected a couple seemingly in sync, happy, and building a family together. To the outside world, it looked like Cardi had successfully escaped the chaos of her past and had found a partner who could provide stability. By September, the couple made the news official, with Cardi sitting across from Gayle King on CBS Mornings, announcing her pregnancy. The world watched her glow, believing she had finally found love, support, and peace. For the fans, it seemed like a fairy tale coming to life. Then, in November 2025, their son was born, a moment that should have marked the pinnacle of happiness and stability. But even as she held her newborn, the red flags that had surfaced early in the relationship quietly persisted. Diggs was a man with a complex personal life, already fathering multiple children with several women, and facing ongoing legal and interpersonal challenges. Cardi, aware of all this, had hoped that she could maintain firm boundaries and protect herself and her child from any fallout. She believed her vigilance and emotional intelligence would shield her from repeating patterns of betrayal. The difference this time, though, was timing and context. Everything seemed to be moving quickly: public appearances, family announcements, and relationship milestones, all under the scrutiny of millions of eyes online. Cardi had placed her trust carefully, but even that carefulness could not prevent the whirlwind that came on Super Bowl Sunday 2026. By then, she had invested her emotions deeply, believing in Diggs' words and intentions, hoping that her experience and careful observation would result in a relationship that honored her boundaries.
Imagine using your social capital for a man who had his court date pushed back so he can make it to the Super Bowl and then lose. It's truly embarrassing.
The tension between Cardi B and Stefon Diggs didn't appear out of nowhere. It had been quietly building, and Super Bowl Sunday simply magnified it. Reports from that weekend hinted at awkward moments and unusual dynamics, signaling to fans that something was off. One of the most talked about elements was the presence of Diggs' other child's mother in the stadium. While it's common for athletes' families to attend major games, the optics of the situation created waves online. The woman, reportedly a previous partner, was seen wearing Diggs' jersey, cheering from the front row. Contextually, this sparked speculation because Cardi's own child with Diggs had been born just 2 months earlier. The contrast between a new relationship and lingering ties to past partners created a complicated backdrop for what was supposed to be a celebratory weekend. As the night unfolded, social media picked up on every detail. Cardi's brief appearances, her lack of engagement during the halftime show, and her minimal interactions with fans and reporters became a point of analysis. Every observer online tried to interpret body language, tone, and subtle gestures. Fans noticed she didn't stay for the entire game, didn't post her usual supportive messages, and generally seemed removed from the night's excitement. The shift in her behavior fueled a broader conversation about emotional investment, loyalty, and the realities of dating someone with a complicated personal life. Meanwhile, the game itself turned into a disaster for the Patriots. Diggs' performance was underwhelming. A few catches, but no touchdowns, minimal impact in crucial moments, and a noticeable absence in the highlight reels. For a player in the Super Bowl, this level of performance drew scrutiny from fans, analysts, and media outlets alike. In combination with Cardi's distant behavior, the narrative quickly became about more than football. It became about the unraveling of a high-profile relationship under public scrutiny. Reports also circulated regarding alleged rumors of someone entering Diggs' hotel room that night. While these claims remain unverified, the presence of competing narratives online intensified the drama, causing the internet to erupt with speculation and hot takes. Cardi's cryptic posts on social media, combined with the timing of her actions, created a sense of intrigue and tension. Viewers and fans were dissecting the smallest moments, comparing them to prior appearances, and creating theories about what had gone wrong behind the scenes. The combination of a lackluster game, complex personal dynamics, and online speculation created a perfect storm. By the time the Super Bowl ended, the conversation had shifted from sports to relationships. Cardi B, Stefon Diggs, and the high-profile nature of their personal lives became the central focus for media coverage and fan commentary. Social media exploded with reactions, memes, and critiques, turning a sports event into a cultural moment filled with intrigue, tension, and speculation. What should have been a night of triumph had instead become a turning point that set the stage for the next chapter in this very public story.
Let me ask the audience. It is embarrassing for someone as talented as you are to be associated with a man who has multiple accusations, charges, lawsuits, and lost the Super Bowl.
Living a high-profile relationship in public comes with its unique pressures, and Cardi B and Stefon Diggs were no strangers to that spotlight. For months leading up to Super Bowl Sunday, fans watched Cardi attend every game, post stories, and cheer wildly for Diggs, creating a narrative of unwavering support. She was the ultimate hype partner, a constant presence who amplified his career while simultaneously drawing massive attention to their relationship. But on February 8, 2026, something shifted, something that would set social media ablaze. Before the game even started, fans and reporters noticed subtle, but significant changes in Cardi's demeanor. Normally vibrant and expressive, she seemed withdrawn, quiet, almost distant. A simple question from a reporter asking her what she wanted to say to Diggs before the game elicited just 2 words: "Good luck." No excitement, no show of energy, no traditional display of support. Those 2 words, minimal as they were, spoke volumes. Social media immediately began analyzing her tone, body language, and facial expressions, suggesting that the fairy tale narrative fans had followed for months might already be unraveling. By halftime, Cardi appeared briefly during the show, stretching and moving through the crowd, but she didn't stay to watch the second half, as one might expect from a partner invested in the big game. Fans immediately noticed her absence on social media. Too, no celebratory posts, no hype videos, nothing that matched her usual presence at Diggs games. Her minimal engagement was like a silent signal that something was off behind the scenes, creating a whirlwind of speculation. The internet reacted almost instantly. Commentators, superfans, and casual viewers alike began dissecting her every move, reading into every micro-expression and body language cue. The narrative quickly expanded from football performance to relationship dynamics, sparking conversations about trust, loyalty, and tension between the couple. Even without official statements, the public sensed a shift in the energy that had defined their romance, turning a celebratory sports moment into a cultural spectacle. Meanwhile, Stefon Diggs himself had a challenging night on the field. The New England Patriots faced a difficult game, and Diggs' performance didn't live up to expectations. Fans noted his minimal impact in the game, further fueling the perception that the night was unraveling both professionally and personally. The combination of a high-stakes sporting event and a visibly strained personal relationship created a perfect storm for social media frenzy, turning what should have been a night of triumph into a viral moment of intrigue and speculation. This day set the stage for what would become a week-long conversation across platforms, dissecting every action and post. The Super Bowl became more than a game. It became a lens into a couple whose public romance had captivated audiences, now facing scrutiny under the unforgiving eye of online commentary. Cardi's withdrawn behavior, combined with Diggs' lackluster performance, turned a night meant for celebration into a dramatic turning point, signaling the beginning of a very public and highly analyzed relationship crisis.
We don't see him hyping you up. Matter of fact, when he was asked about if you were going to get a ring, he joked and said he got to get.
Cardi B's experience with Stefon Diggs was made even more complex because of the emotional baggage she carried from her previous marriage to Offset. That relationship had been highly public, tumultuous, and filled with cycles of infidelity, heartbreak, and reconciliation. Cardi had spent years navigating a marriage that many described as toxic, exposing her to public scrutiny while simultaneously trying to maintain her own sense of identity, stability, and self-worth. The lessons she had learned from that era shaped how she approached her relationship with Diggs. She demanded transparency, loyalty, and clear boundaries from the start. She wanted to protect herself and her child from repeating the same mistakes that had caused her immense pain in the past. When Cardi first connected with Diggs, it seemed like a fresh start, a chance to rebuild trust and find happiness on her own terms. She reportedly spent months carefully considering the decision to enter this relationship, making sure that she wasn't repeating patterns from the Offset era. By June 2025, their romance had become public, and the couple was frequently sharing glimpses of their life together on social media, yacht photos, personal captions, and videos celebrating new chapters. Cardi's optimism was understandable. After years of public drama, she believed she had found a man who could respect her, support her, and be present for their child. By September 2025, Cardi's life seemed to reach a high point. She appeared on CBS Mornings with Gayle King, proudly announcing her pregnancy. The world saw her glowing, confident, and excited for the future, convinced that she had successfully moved past the chaos of her previous relationship. Then, on November 4, 2025, her son was born, marking what she hoped would be a new chapter filled with joy, stability, and love. Yet the underlying complications of Diggs' personal life, multiple children, overlapping relationships, and ongoing legal issues loomed over the couple, threatening to destabilize everything she had worked so hard to build. The early warning signs were subtle at first: inconsistent communication, hints of outside drama, and small incidents that hinted at potential betrayal. Cardi had been through enough to recognize these patterns, and she reportedly made her expectations clear. If Diggs crossed certain lines, the relationship would be over. She was attempting to apply lessons learned from her previous marriage, protecting both herself and her child from the pain she had endured before. But even with all her preparation and vigilance, the unfolding events of Super Bowl Sunday demonstrated how quickly circumstances could spiral out of control. Cardi's experience highlighted the challenges of navigating high-profile relationships in the public eye, especially when the partners involved carry complicated histories. Fans and media alike watched every move, every post, and every interaction, dissecting them for clues about the state of the relationship. The public scrutiny amplified the emotional stakes, turning private challenges into viral headlines and memes that spread across social media platforms.
And if this is healing, keep it away from me. Whatever type of healing this is that he was offering you, you might want to go and write a essay about this, because this could not.
And what made the night even more surreal was what happened after the game ended. Cardi B reportedly had planned an extravagant Super Bowl after-party, reportedly spending over $1.2 million on a celebration meant to mark a victorious night with Stefon Diggs. The party was set to be one of the most talked-about events of the season, a lavish display of lights, music, and celebrity energy. But that vision never came to life. The game ended in a crushing loss for the Patriots, 29-13, and Diggs' underwhelming performance on the field set the tone for what would quickly become a personal disaster off the field as well. The entire atmosphere of celebration turned into an awkward silence, and the plans for the massive party evaporated into thin air. Within hours of the final whistle, social media lit up with updates from fans, insiders, and gossip accounts. One of the most shocking moves was Cardi and Diggs unfollowing each other on Instagram, signaling to fans that something serious had gone wrong. Sources close to the couple suggested that a breakup had taken place, though details were murky. The sudden nature of the separation, combined with the high-profile context, made it impossible for anyone to ignore. Headlines and trending topics dominated every feed as people tried to piece together exactly what had gone wrong. Adding fuel to the fire were unverified reports suggesting that Diggs may have been involved in further complications that evening, including allegedly sneaking someone into his hotel room. While these claims have not been independently confirmed and remain speculative, in the court of public opinion, the damage was already done. The combination of a failed game, the canceled party, and the perception of disrespect toward Cardi painted a picture of betrayal and disappointment that fans could not ignore. Every social media post, meme, and online discussion reinforced the narrative that Cardi had been disrespected and that Diggs' actions, on and off the field, were under intense scrutiny. The situation was further complicated by the fact that Cardi and Diggs had a 2-month-old baby at the time. The stakes were higher than just a failed romance. They had a child whose life was now entwined with a public scandal. The pressure of maintaining composure while the world dissected every action and rumor added immense stress to Cardi, who had been navigating a new relationship while still managing her own career and personal life. By the end of the night, it was clear that Super Bowl Sunday had become much more than a sports event. It was a cultural moment highlighting the complicated dynamics of celebrity relationships, the intrusion of social media, and the ways public perception can amplify private struggles. Cardi B, despite her strength and visibility, found herself at the center of an unfolding drama that would dominate headlines for days, as fans and media alike speculated about what came next, who was to blame, and whether any resolution was even possible.